All right, hey folks, today is November the 19th, 2025. So in an effort to code calm and trade smart, let's go over this video for today. Again, I'm Eric Garland. I'm the host of Success Over Stress. I am going to talk to you today about programming and how we can find our edge in the stock market. So you see here, I'm using RadarScreen. I have a few algos, 1, 2, 3 algos on the penny stocks and then the mid and large cap stocks. I have just 2 algos set up to run. This is something I put together the other week. So we're comparing the volume of the day compared to the shares outstanding of that specific symbol to determine whether or not there's a lot of activity or a lot of volume in that specific stock. So what I want to do now is I want to get a little bit of an idea of what these specific sectors are doing. So I started a new page on the RadarScreen for the sectors, and I have all these sectors set up. And not just do I have the symbols here, which this is probably a good point for you guys to go ahead. And if you don't have all the sectors for the S&P 500, this is under S&P Select. These are based on the ETFs for the SPY, so we can get an idea of what each sector is doing. Okay, so I'm just looking at the sector compared to its prior day close. I'm not looking at it compared to the S&P 500, so getting a beta or anything like that of where the stock is compared to the S&P index. That's something that we can do at a later date. So to get description here, you just want to add a study, and under indicator, it'll just be description. Maybe it's, let's see. Yeah, there it is. Okay, description right there. Okay, so you just add that to your chart, and then once you have that onto your RadarScreen, then you will see the description of what comes up for your specific symbol. So what I just want to show you today is the sector change amount, the closing change amount. So how I made this script is, and I'm doing a few other things with it, but how I made this script is essentially we're taking the close of a day ago. We're assigning that to this variable here. It's a local variable in this method. And then we are saying, okay, what is the current close or the current price minus the close of a day ago? And so that'll be a small number. That's our difference. And then we're taking that difference and we're putting it over top of the close a day ago. So now that will give us a fraction. Now, if we want to turn that fraction in percent, so this is good. This is good. I actually multiply that times 100, and that will give us a percent, right? And you say, right. Okay, now we look at these numbers and we say, yeah, Eric, well, those numbers don't make sense. Minus 143%, I doubt it. Well, that's the same issue I came across. And the solution to the issue after a bunch of debugging and print statements was that when you go to your study and you set it up, the style, if you set it up for percentage, it's going to calculate the percentage. So it's going to multiply it by, or it's going to move the position 2 times, right? 2 places. So if you set this to just a regular number, now it doesn't move it, right? But now you know that that's your percentage. But since we do want to display a percentage amount, we're going to remove this 100 right here, and we're going to let the study itself, as it applies the style, we're going to apply the style of percentage. And that way we don't have to go over here and add a percent sign and all that kind of stuff. So again, it'll do it automatically, but you just have to be careful because I completed the program and the program looked good. And then I went and my numbers weren't right. So I had to figure out why the numbers weren't right. And it was just a simple formatting of the style. Like I said, this changes the decimal place. So keep that in mind in terms of debugging. If you're getting some type of output that isn't consistent with what you're looking for, then just make sure that the formatting is correct. with wherever you're displaying it, whether or not you're displaying on the chart or a print statement or in RadarScreen. Just make sure that the style is correct. All right, so that's pretty much it. So now what I'm gonna do with this, if you see here up top, I went ahead and made a symbol list here. So it's an input, and what I'm doing here is these are the only symbols. Like these are the only symbols because these are all my ETFs. So these are the only symbols that should run this program. And if it's a different symbol than one of these, then it will kick it out. And by that, let me show you what I'm talking about. If I put Microsoft on here, it's trying to do something and then it gives me an error, right? It gives me an error. Runtime error, wrong symbol. Now, how did I do that? Well, when I first run the program, I'm going to check the symbol. Check the symbol method comes here, and I'm creating a token list. So the first thing I'm doing when I'm running the program is I'm checking the symbol. Well, I'm creating a token list, and in the token list, I'm putting the symbol list here. Now that I have the symbol list in my token list, I can say, make sure that I do have whatever symbol is trying to run the program, that symbol shows up in this list. If it doesn't show up in the list, I'm going to raise the runtime error wrong symbol. Why am I doing that? Because I'm going to end up taking all these values and they're going to go into the dictionary. They're going to go into the dictionary with its corresponding symbol. And then that dictionary is going to eventually go into the global dictionary, GD sectors. Okay, you see, we put the percent change in here into the dictionary with the symbol as its key, and then we're going to put that dictionary into the global dictionary. And as I thought about it, I probably will do this a little bit differently. I probably want to check to see if it's if there's a dictionary already in this global dictionary, and if it is, then we're going to load the dictionary first. So there's a few more things I want to do here, but ultimately what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do it similar to this mid to large cap stock here. So instead of just showing whether or not it's red, it's under, or it's under its close of yesterday, or green, it's over its close of yesterday, I'm going to probably set up a scale to where if it's on the lower end of the scale, as far as progress for the day, it's going to be red. If it's mid, then it'll be yellow in the inner quartile. Or if it's among the best of the day, then it will be green. So that way we can still say, all right, well, maybe all the sectors are red for the day, but we still are willing to trade the better of the sectors that are moving for the day. Okay, so we don't want to throw out all the babies. We don't want to throw out all the babies. We want to check the bath water and keep the babies that aren't crying. I know, bad analogy, I know. So that's what the goal is there. I'll probably have that program later today or tomorrow, and you can see how that turns out. But that is what we're going to do with the sectors. And yeah, so again, if we want to add Microsoft in here, then we can add that. And then when we re-verify, now Microsoft is in the list. Okay, let's see. Microsoft is in the list. How come it didn't give us what we're looking for? Check symbol, token list. If it's not, then, well, the way that the runtime error works is once it kicks it out, it's off. It's off even if you rework your indicator or you re-verify. It's off until you manually turn it back on. Now, if you do a stop calculation, it'll turn off the indicator, and then if you re-verify or you do something outside of the program, it can still turn the indicator back on. But this runtime error, you have to manually go in and turn it back on. So we're going to manually go back in. We'll just do something like a, let's see. Let's change the, I think if we just change the number of bars here. Let me see here. Edit sector. We've got to figure out some way to get this to, I'll tell you what, let's do this. Let's just change the symbol and then we'll change it back to Microsoft. All right, still didn't do it. Runtime error. I'm pretty sure that that's the way that raise runtime error works though. But let's see. So what the problem is when you change your, and this is another good thing to note. When you change your input, whatever your input initially was on your program, that input doesn't change. I mean, I see why they do that, but I also don't see why they do that. But if your symbol list started 3 long and then you added something to your symbol list later on down the road, your symbol list that was 3 long will not change. It'll stay 3. So whatever our symbol list was here without the Microsoft, that's what it is here. Watch this. Double click this, and then we're going to go to inputs. And when we look at the inputs, it doesn't include Microsoft. All right. So we have to go in and manually add it. Either that, or we have to remove it from the remove the program and then add the program back. So we hit OK. Now it shows up. All right. But let's see. Let's see if we can prompt that raise runtime error. Let's see. Let's see. Let's try this. If symbol equals Microsoft, then raise runtime error. We just put MSFT. Verify. All right, so now it's going to kick it out. All right, the runtime error this time is Microsoft. All right, but so now if we want to, let's comment this out and then we're going to rerun it. All right, we reran it and it showed up. So yeah, so that raise runtime error won't. Okay, this is the difference. Hang on. All right, so this is the difference. It's not that it kicks it out so far that you have to restart the entire program. It's that a raise or runtime error will shut down the whole program. Stop calculation will stop the program. And so if you had something showing up here, it will still show up. So watch this. Even though we have this here, if we do a, after we check it and it's good to go, and then we do our calculation and we plot our calculation, now at the end of it, we're going to raise the runtime error. So watch this. Okay, verified. So it ran the calculation, but we raised the runtime error after it plotted. But because it raised the runtime error, it just shuts down the entire indicator. It doesn't show you anything. It shuts everything down. All right, so now instead of raising the runtime error, we're going to throw a stop calculation. So if it's Microsoft, then throw el system dot stop calculation exception dot create, and then we'll just put Microsoft. Okay, but so now when we do it this way, it'll still plot here. It'll stop the calculation, but it will just give us a notification. It'll stop this whole program, but it'll also notify us what's going on, but it'll keep that last result. Hit verify. it gives us our last result, and then it stops the calculation. That is an interesting result. I wonder if that's the result based on, that's probably the result based on, remember this close calculation is going to be based on the current close, based on the calculation a day ago, and this current close though, this close will happen to be the close of whatever bar it's referencing, because we started this program earlier on, and there's a number of days back that it references. It references 180 5-minute bars ago. Then this close is going to be referencing 180 bars ago, because this would have been the first time it ran. So instead of us throwing the stop calculation on this first bar, which gives us this weird result, let's do it on the last bar. So if last bar and it's Microsoft, then throw the stop calculation. So now we rerun it, and now we get something that makes sense. But if you click on if you hover over this, it says user requested stop the calculation. So we stop the calculation. So this one is no longer running. The rest of these are still running, but it stopped running, and you get to see what was last run. But that has a lot of value, because some of the times you want to stop your calculation midday, but you want to still hold whatever value happened midday. And then sometimes with the raise runtime error, you want to stop the whole thing and just shut the whole thing off and make it just black the whole thing out. So if you want to black the whole thing out, you want to raise the runtime error. If you just want to stop it in its tracks, then you want to create the stop calculation exception. Now, if we do it in this order here, it really doesn't matter what order we do it in, because if we raise the runtime error, it's going to shut the whole thing down. Watch this. Verify. Now it shuts the whole thing down. We never got a chance to do the stop calculation exception. Let's make it apples for apples on the last bar. Okay. So, but again, because we're on the last bar still, we raise the runtime error, which kicks out the entire thing and doesn't hold it doesn't hold your place. Okay, so now we're going to remove this. We're going to put it after the stop calculation exception. And now let's see what happens. Okay, it stopped the calculation exception. It didn't kick out the whole thing. Why didn't it kick out the whole thing? Well, we stopped the calculation exception first. So we paused the whole program here. So we never got here. If we got here, then it would kick out the whole program. Okay, but we never got here. Okay, so it didn't give us an error and give us just an invalid value in this cell. So yeah, again, RadarScreen is a peculiar little beast, but if you understand it, then you can tame it and you can ride it. All right, I'm working on riding it. All right, I'm working on riding it. But I hope you guys got a little something out of that. I don't need this in here. I don't need Microsoft in here. I don't need Microsoft over here. So, and Microsoft should not be on any of these. All right, folks. Again, code confident, trade calm. I'm Eric. I'm out. Peace.